wanna do a podcast? We make a darn good team. It always goes without a hitch. Let's head to Twitch and go start up the stream. Do you wanna do a podcast? It's the Nerd Glasses Podcast. Let's start now. Hi everyone and welcome to the Nerd Glasses Podcast.
Come? Alright, I'll do my own bit for myself.
Oh wait, no silence.
We're doing it.
Get off the road.
Hey everybody. During the pre-show, the topic of Carnival came up, and it reminded me that I have a friend that used to do a human cannonball routine. And when he retired, they had to not be able to continue the act. As it turns out, they were unable to find anyone of the same caliber. Hello everyone and welcome to the Nerd Glasses Podcast. I'm Boater.
I'm Dave Man.
I'm Hyper-Syntax.
I'm Tacopill.
And this week you're
Are we
Tacopill?
going-
Really?
Are we going with our made-up names or real names? What are we doing here?
Oh, we're using our I am Doctor Strange, thank you.
I'm also Griff Kuba.
Oh, okay. So now we're Griff Kuba this week. However you choose to identify yourself, we support and love you.
I'm still Boater.
Don't judge me for my DID.
Hi, how's everybody out there doing?
And the show has begun. We are less than a full minute, and we are already keeling over on
That's
ourselves.
how you know it's going to be a good one.
Oh, it's going to be a good one.
Do you want to keep this energy going when I say how Twitch did a oopsie daisy with a ban this week?
Oh, no.
Oh, go on.
Because
I'm stealing your photo. Very sorry to interrupt. I'm stealing your picture for a go live.
Please do. Please do. I was recently introduced to the term holding a bouquet of whoopsie daisies, and that actually kind of feels like Twitch recently.
They really have, haven't they?
I mean, there was the whole thing. I don't think we're going to get into it, but there was a whole thing last week of like the branded guidelines and everything like that. What can people do with sponsorships? All that.
Did you hear about the Twitch employee that hassled a streamer live on stream?
No, I didn't hear about the Twitch employee that hassled
It
the streamer
gets
live
better.
on stream.
Oh, no.
I'm going to shelve this for a second.
That's not good when we get news right
Steve, do you want to elaborate, or are we just going to leave that? Okay, well,
the
you
off-screen
find that.
voice has some juicy gossip.
While you find that, this past week, Cardboard Cowboy, who is largely a comedy streamer, has an alt account where he streams his own composed lo-fi music on Lo-Fi Cardboard Cowboy. He was banned for 48 hours because Twitch said that he was running a music channel and needed a separate contract to prove that he owned the rights to stream the music that he was broadcasting on the music channel. Which I think is normally a thing for like, hi, I'm gonna, be streaming just like this NCS music or whatever, and need to show that you have the rights from the artist. It's his own music that he just had like a 24-hour stream kind of thing, and he's like, nobody else needs to do this. It did end up getting reversed and the ban taken off of the account. It was a ton of community pressure, obviously, and since then. He's seen a sharp rise in followers as the community has continued to show support, learning about the guy, and also like lo-fi music. Yes, please. That's like crack for my ears. Sign me up.
Funnily enough, Matthew Heafy, the singer and guitarist for the band Trivium, also streamed music that he wrote, and he has the rights to, and he got DMCA taken down all the time for when he first started streaming, and he literally was like, it's my music!
Yeah.
So now, just to kind of put it in, by the way, the band Trivium is on tour. Matthew Heafy's Twitch channel, he's live off stage of his own concert, streaming his own shows. Amazing, by the way, because they're not touring anywhere near here. If you're a fan of Trivium.
I am. Yeah, that's
highly recommend.
Mine.
I'll message you the link to
all
it.
right, nice.
All right, so the gossip amp sent me the link of
Thank you. Come on around to this side of the old microphone.
Shimmy, shimmy, shimmy.
Shimmy, shimmy.
Try not to hit any lights.
Oh yeah, well, here we go. Scoot on in, good sir. Tell us about
Steve, I respect the
the
fact that
next
you
Daisy.
refused to get up from the chair.
According
That
to
was certainly a decision.
a tweet from Tedward, who watched the whole thing. A Twitch staff member came into Harris Heller, who was a streamer on Twitch, came onto a stream, harassed him for almost 10 minutes. Then when he was Harris tried to ban him. You can't ban Twitch employees on Twitch. And he held it right over Harris. And
So what happened to the employee then?
nothing, from what I could tell.
Oh boy. Hopefully that is nothing yet.
Yeah. That sounds like a nothing yet kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He
Especially
shut
the
down
more
stream, played outside with his kid, and yeah, that was that whole thing.
Especially the more that it gets reported, like on the Nerd Glasses podcast,
Hey.
the more it gets out there and the more people say this is not acceptable.
Was the admin's name on the article by any chance?
Seth Hendricks.
Way to go, Seth Hendricks!
It started with like, "Hey Harris, love you, but I would like to talk to you about your content one-on-one sometime," and then it just divulged. from
Just
there.
kept going. Ugh. So like, it's bad enough when like a regular viewer kind of doesn't know when to stop. I think anyone who's been streaming for a little bit has had that where people just come on and don't really know, like, okay, dude, I'm trying to engage with the rest of my audience. I'm trying to play my thing here. I appreciate the energy you're bringing, but back off a little. But when it's a Twitch employee and you can't actually use any moderation tools to make them back off, yikes.
Like, I see why they have that feature in place.
Oh, yeah.
Because you need to have that that power, that authority, as an employee or as a like superior of that platform. Yes, this is a bad case, but this is case specific.
Like, I think there should be specific official Twitch accounts where that kind of thing, shouldn't be banned, whatever, and are being used for official Twitch business.
How come?
I can buy
But just-
that. Yeah.
But just any
Yeah,
old
like-
employee's account,
Yeah,
whether
like
it's a personal whatever.
Like the
that-
difference between your professional, for a second conversation, let's say Twitter, like your brand Twitter versus your personal Twitter.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be for like a news outlet, this is now your handle as a W blah 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 reporter, and it's W blah 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 Johnson.
Right.
Like, no, that's your news outlet. This is my personal type
Yeah.
of thing.
My personal is JimBob69, whereas WXYZ JimBob, different accounts that should have, in the case of Twitch, different levels of access, and should probably say like Twitch official 1, Twitch official 2, that kind of thing.
Well,
Complete with a little blue check mark so you know it's them.
yay, check marks.
Anyone here have a blue check mark?
Nope. Does anyone have a blue check mark on Tumblr? Okay. Because they are upfront about that meaning nothing. And you get 2 check marks for the price of 1.
Way to not let Elon win. Like, way to just take it at him.
Yeah.
Like, I love that love/hate that in the course of half a year the check mark has now become the punchline to a joke rather than an actual sense of verified anything.
Yeah.
Because if we want Nerd Glasses official as a Twitter account, you can't be verified unless we pay $8 to...
Yeah. That's it. It's not a pride thing. It's a verification and a protection. It's not an ego boost. It's a protection.
Amp points out that the guy the streamer that was facing that during that stream, not only streams but also does YouTube videos that help streamers of like, hey, here's how to do this, here's how to do that, whatever. And it's like, of all the people that you could go after, why do the one that is going to make YouTube videos saying, hey, here's this behavior that I faced on Twitch from a Twitch employee? Maybe don't. Let's look into some alternatives. Here's how you can get started on YouTube.
Let's get out the Twitch
I almost
excuse
said
Rolodex.
kick, but-
Their account was compromised. It was hackers from
Croatia. I almost said kick, but I didn't want to have to explain to Dave what kick is again.
I've heard the word before. I'm just not familiar with the idea.
Thank you very much, Steve, and Amp for bringing that one to us for more in the wonderfully fragrant bouquet of Twitch's Oopsie Daisies.
I love Demon Dragon's comment. I'm sorry, I didn't bring the laptop over and my phone's very close to dead.
Oh, my, I missed that one.
but-
Sounds like some real incel energy from the Twitch admin.
Yes! That's exactly what that screams of.
Yes.
That screams, people don't like me, notice me. Me.
Ugh. Anyway, that is Twitch having a very bad past week.
So let's recap about this. That person is banned from Twitch.
Which one?
Yes. Who in that action received a ban?
I don't think anyone in the one that Amp and Steve brought up have gotten banned.
Why not?
That would
Not yet.
That would be funny if they got banned from Twitch but can still work at Twitch.
Can you imagine? Like, I wonder if in the employment contract it says that you have to abide by Twitch TOS on the platform as well.
It's gotta.
In today's
have to
installment of
imagine
Twitch
it
made a bit
does.
of a fucky wucky.
Yeah.
Pretty much, Amp. Pretty much.
It's
Yeah.
oh my god. How? Why? You know what it is? You know, we're gonna sort of conspiracy theory this. It's the proximity to Twitter's headquarters, to Twitch's, where they're literally like, hey, they're making a lot of money going bananas. Let's start throwing things out the windows.
Oh, so like Reddit.
Yes.
That is also massively overcharging for access to its API like Twitter is. Causing multiple third-party apps to have to say, well, we can't afford to pay that much per month for our API requests, and they're not meeting us at the table for discussing pricing, so bye.
Clearly, the investors have gotten a hold of this whole product and are going, but more.
Yeah, we're...
So is there something in the Silicon Valley water that's causing all these problems?
I'll
I mean,
I'll
at
ask
least they
my
have
family.
water
bros.
again.
Yeah.
Tech bros. That's what's up.
And venture capitalism. Anyway,
Speaking of capitalism,
what can I spend my dollary dues on in the next 7 days,
if
Dave?
you have a Jobberino and get dollary dues, there are some games coming out in the next 7 days that really caught my ducats' attention. One of which that I'm just going to say, I remember seeing
Money.
ads for this one, and it already came out on PC, and I'm going to preface this by saying it is a 51 on Metacritic.
We've seen worse this month.
We've seen worse, but on the 15th, by the way, presented in 4,008K high definition, and also you're 10% more handsome for watching this. Nerd Vision. Yes, jazz hands on top of it.
It's big.
So on the 15th, coming to PlayStation, joining the PC community on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, you can play the game Crime Boss Rockay
Wait.
City.
Do we have audio? I know we don't have video. Do we have audio?
Okay, we're good. Everything's fine.
Okay. Everything's happy.
Please tell me Brunerd's beautiful visage popped up when we switched to that scene. Last week we had a friend of ours that fundraised for St. Jude's. Steve, can you full screen again? I don't want the Rockay City thing playing in the background and catching goodwill from this. Our friend Brunerd put his beard on the line for fundraising for St. Jude's.
Cameras down.
And
Camera froze.
yes! That was all! We were all so happy. But
remember those days?
He
Minute and a
leaned
half
into the
ago?
camera to show that he had shaved he stood behind his raised $500, shave his beard, and then the problem is the camera froze. So it was his face looking very intently into the camera, frozen on a couple scenes, and it was great.
So that happened just now when it switched back and it was still on the still frame of when we left the scene of all like, yay! It did that, but it switched back and it was just Jimmy's face. Until we got it fixed.
I miss you, Brunerd.
Gold. That is gold. That is
So,
advertising gold.
Okay.
On the 15th,
Put 'em game.
Crime Boss Rockay City is coming out. You might remember this one. It got a lot of fanfare and a lot of love at many different conventions because it has Michael Madsen, Danny Glover, Chuck Norris, Michael Rooker, Danny Trejo, Kim Basinger, and it's
Vanilla Ice.
It's sent Vanilla Ice. Thank you.
He was
I
in
don't,
that
I don't
trailer.
remember. I don't remember if he's called Vanilla Ice anymore. He might be Ice or just Vanilla. Whatever his hip hop performing name is still. But You remember that one got a lot of fanfare because it was like, oh my god, all the stars of this era, and they're in a game about the era and this and that and the other. And apparently everybody just Peter Dinklaged their lines the entire time.
Oh no!
What a verb! Where people are very divided on everyone's voice acting during that.
I know what you mean by that, but that still feels really mean.
It should, because again, there are people that like the Dinklage lines, there are people that don't like the Dinklage lines.
This is the right group for it.
I am
Part of the
wearing
other
my
reason
Destiny
that I brought it
shirt
up
right
because
now.
one of the only people I know that play Destiny that I can actually talk to that don't immediately go, you have to play with me to talk about it, and I'm like, I have to. But Rockay City, by the way, a co-op FPS. It has a little bit of this, a little bit of that in each of the games. Lots of different game mechanics come together to what has been rated as meh. Hopefully some improvements.
All the
some more
money
love
went into
comes to it.
casting and not actual game dev.
Yep. Yep.
Is that genre just dying?
By genre, do you
By
mean just
genre-
or just the concept of getting a lot of stars in a game, or?
Well, no, the cooperative shooter, cooperative FPS.
A PvE kind of?
Yeah, 'cause I'm wearing a Destiny shirt. Like I
Right.
get that, but there seemed to be like a big surge of those types of games.
Yes.
And not many of them are doing well on launch.
Nope, because
Redfall's coming to mind. It had its own
Okay,
share
yeah.
of issues. And there's been a few others where it's you go into a PvE environment and you link up with all your friends and it's so awesome. But you need friends to do that. And you need a bunch of friends who are gamers who are all going to commit to that game specifically.
yes.
I think we'll find out. We'll know for sure when Payday 3 comes out because it was
Okay.
just announced, right? Payday 3 was just
yes.
Yes. announced, and
we got a release date.
okay, so we got a release date for it. Payday 2 was a big one for cooperative PvE and playing online with friends and whatever. So I think if Payday 3 does well, then we can't say that the genre's dead yet. If it's DOA, then we're like, okay, let's put this one in the ground for 10 years.
Let's
before
all
we
just take
dig it
shots at
back up.
Overwatch. It's totally fine.
Well, here's the thing, it's never dead for real. They're gonna dig it up eventually, and there's gonna be a
Sure.
resurgence.
Put it back into beta, like multiverses.
Put it back in the beta. Wow, this was
We
really
decided
bad.
to close this stage of the open beta. You didn't call it an open beta until you realized it was dog shit.
Yep.
I feel like the pendulum is
ears
kind of
ringing.
swinging
Yeah,
back a little bit.
I could see that. I could see that.
That's what I'm feeling right now.
It's almost like we summoned Brunerd and the Bumble Librarian by referencing them, by the way. Why, guys?
We had some camera freezes, and it reminded us of the good times last week.
So, from my experience in looking at games that are coming out in the next 7 days, things like that, yeah, it really, really is. Smaller companies are the ones that are making those, and partially because access to having everybody on one server is very expensive and cost prohibitive. So it's way easier to have a linear story where,
Yeah.
and here's where you will be for the next 4 hours.
Well, yeah, and like just might be fatigue of that also. And I'm seeing more of the smaller. Well, yeah, the smaller studios are getting purchased by the larger ones. But
Thanks, Embracer.
but on the positive side, that does infuse a smaller studio with a crap ton of resources and
Yes.
support and knowledge base that they could leverage. And I'm seeing a pretty good rise. I mean, the indie community just in general continues to rise.
Yes.
I feel like you can see genres rise and fall in AAA, and you can see that in indie, and they don't always go together. Sometimes one will, PUBG goes from indie all of a sudden and is AAA kind of, and Battle Royale is big for a while, and now we see extraction shooter on the rise, whatever that actually means. I don't know.
Sounds pretty wild. Not gonna lie, it sounds pretty wild. And if I had more free time, I might start dipping into that. But free time is not something that I have much of these days.
Yeah. What's next?
Well, let's leave that mediocre on the table for now and talk about on the 16th for Windows, PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox Series X, and Xbox One. It's the return to what I dubbed the Dark Souls of racing games. F123 simultaneously, which is this weird one for this one. Aliens Dark Descent.
Ooh.
It is an RTS. It takes place 20 years after Alien 3, which means no, we won't see Ripley in this game either. Stop asking. They haven't licensed her. I'm just saying. That's the response I got on Twitter when I asked them. You are on a moon base attempting to fix your spacecraft, which, stop me if you've heard this trope in Alien before, mysteriously stopped working, and then suddenly the xenomorphs appeared. You command a squad of 4 Marines. You are able to upgrade them. You're able to change their tactics. They get tired. They get excited. But Dave is Ripley in this one.
We love you, Amp.
Here's what I'm going to say to you. Maybe. If we all keep asking... If we all keep begging for Sigourney, maybe she'll come back.
Because if I show that I'm on your side, you're going to stop bugging me about it.
All of the characters I want back.
So is this like an XCOM kind of strategy
It's
thing?
very much in the same style
Okay.
of your characters will become fatigued if they are put into too stressful situations solo, and that will affect their performance, being able to hit shots, do those things. So it's very, very XCOM.
Nice.
Not a bad thing.
Yeah.
No,
No,
not at all a bad thing.
That's a genre that's been like, as long as we're talking about genres, that's one that's been on a slow burn rise over the last few years. The game that I'm most familiar with in that kind of genre was BattleTech from a few years ago at this point, but that like go through the campaign or whatever, and your characters carry through and their stats and all that, but like you have a small squad that you're moving through.
Okay.
Whereas when I first hear real time strategy, I think like base building and Age of Empires, StarCraft,
Likewise,
stuff like
likewise.
that. Yeah.
StarCraft! I miss you, StarCraft! Come back!
Don't worry, Dave. I hear they're making StarCraft Ghosts sometime.
I had a pre-order of that!
I know you did.
It was refunded, and I was very sad. I was like, but I would rather
makes
hold
it
on
final.
to it. And they're like, no.
No.
Here's your $5 back, sir. Your copy of Duke Nukem Forever will be ready in a week. By the way, to give you an idea of that's when that came out, or when those games were announced.
Oh, God. I had an official Xbox magazine that had a preview of Ghost in it. Oh, sigh. Okay, anyway. I, too, am fatigued when I'm put into too many solo stressful missions.
World of StarCraft. Yes.
A little surprised they never did that, but probably because it would have taken too many people away from World of Warcraft, and they didn't want to sabotage their own player base. And they were like, well, maybe when World of Warcraft dies down, we can do World of StarCraft. Oh, it's still going.
Still going.
Oh, no.
When the player base kind of stems, and what do you mean we're selling more copies? But we put pandas. We didn't really give them any purpose. They're just pandas. Like,
And that's what people just want to exist as the panda.
what's that player doing? What is bank standing? What does that mean? Why are they on right now? They're not doing any quests. My cousin had to teach me that one, by the way.
So that's what's...
And that's all the games that are coming out in the next 7 days that seemed worth a hoot, save for Crime Boss Rockay City. You've been warned.
So really quick question. Steve, you got the video?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, I see it frozen on my end.
That video.
That video.
Yep.
Thank you, Steve. So, really quick, what's everybody been playing? What's been, if you've had free time to be playing or watching or otherwise consuming media?
Yeah, Chris, what have you been
Chris.
playing?
What you got?
So, as I mentioned last week, I was playing City Skylines on a winter map, and I defeated that like in a day.
Oh my God!
I met my goals. I had 80,000 people. I had over $1 million. I'm like, well, I guess I can go play something else. So I started bouncing from game to game in my Steam library. I played Ninja Tycoon. I played Smart Factory Tycoon. I played House Flipper. And some of them were great. Some of them were mediocre. But
Some weren't hitting quite the same itch.
yes.
Boater, what about you? What have you been playing? What have you been...
So Steph and I were each hyper-focusing on different games this past week. I mentioned that last Sunday I started playing System Shock on stream, the remake that just came out. And, like, I wanted to go back to it, but I wanted to save it for stream. By the next day, I was like, screw it, I'm just going to play this. This past weekend, I was playing that basically all the time, while Steph was playing Diablo 4 basically all the time, because that just came out a week ago. But I finished the System Shock remake Saturday night. Really, really enjoyed it. I tried to play the original, but it was way too 1994 in its control scheme and everything like that. So the new game, and I'm glad that it's not just me like playing and being like, oh, I kind of like this is a cool way to engage with it. Universal praise. Like, everyone's saying, like, okay, everything that's good about System Shock better, it improved a lot of things. The only negative that I'm hearing is that, like, for people that aren't used to it, it doesn't do a lot of hand-holding. So I was at a few points being like, okay, what exactly am I supposed to be doing here? Do I need to also eject these 2 groves before I go and do this story thing? There is no quest log. All it is just, here's all of the audio logs that you've gotten. Here's all the emails, and somewhere in there it's telling you what to do next, but it's not sorted in any way except by what floor that you got it on. So I kind of felt there was no shame in alt-tabbing over.
Oh, God.
You were
Back in the day. Ooh, back in the day.
Yeah, so
We can make old gamer jokes to me, by the way.
Yeah.
and like I would arrive, there was one floor that every time I arrived on it, something happened with a story beat, and Rebecca Lansing is telling me what I need to do next, while I'm getting mobbed by like 3 mutants and 2 robots at the same time. Like, woman, I need you to hold on a second. I cannot listen to the important things you were telling me to do in the story while I'm dying. I need you to please hold. Take a number.
You tell me where my super suit is.
So yeah, I just 1 or 2 times I ended up going to like a guide really quick of like, what do I need to do here? Okay, great. And also like, how do I expand my inventory space?
Oh, yay.
Okay, cool. I can get some expansions here and here. Great. I have something to work towards there. Aside from that, which is, whether it's a plus, negative, whatever, it doesn't hold your hand. And if you are into that kind of like the old, hey, it's missed, and I just need to write things down into my journal as things go, so I know what I'm doing next.
We mean that literally. We mean that literal pen on physical paper.
Yep.
Your own game journal to write things down.
I kept a sticky note app open on my computer at one point where it was like, oh, I need to get a code for this. Well, here's a bunch of codes that are just like flashing on screens in this other area of the floor. Write these down. Go check a few. I said, get out of my way. I said, I'm going to go check a few of the code.
Yeah, right.
Had a lot of fun with the game. I do very much recommend it to anyone that's interested in seeing how the genre of what is now called the immersive simulator, or ImSim, kind of came to be. The progenitor to Deus Ex, to Bioshock, to Thief, and kind of seeing the roots of that while doing so in such a way that is really accessible to current audiences.
Right.
I really enjoyed it. When I finished it, I kind of wanted to play it again. Instead, I did end up getting a hard copy of Free Radical by Seamus Young, which is kind of like a fan fiction retelling from the same premise launching point, but then doing its own thing. So I'm rereading that, and then I'll probably go back to the game again.
very nice.
I've been playing a lot of Diablo, just as much as I could possibly pack in. In fact, Saturday I left the store, went home, and streamed it for 7 hours straight. Just did not stop. Having a wonderful time for it. Bragg the Barbarian is really having a good time. And I'm happy to report that the game is harder than it was in the beta.
Nice.
Like I keep picking the same difficulty level, and I kind of like the fact that it doesn't let me win just by showing up. You know what I mean? Like, there are swarms and hordes and all these things, and you just gotta strategize and do what you can against them. I've really been the benefactor of the fact that it is a big continent, and I've been like chased by swarms and doing like the Hanko and running as everything I have now attracted on my way across and picking up more things on my way. And then like one level 50 player will be standing there and I'm like, go, run! Don't stop, you idiot! Like, and then they start fighting and then I'm like, well, if I die, this is the hill I die upon. Like, and doing that. And I've had so much fun playing with friends and family, with randoms on the internet. people who have coincidentally helped me beat things, or people who have gotten in the way, and it's like I'm playing Overwatch with all those Maywalls. Just, God, stop! But
Is that cross-platform?
it is.
Okay.
Apparently there's also PvP, which I haven't encountered yet, but I'm very interested in, because it won't go well for me, but I will make people mad. So I'm going to be like, that was a lot of fun. They're like, I decapitated you. I'm like, yeah, you did. It was really cool. My hair went,
My head's over there. My head's over there.
There, over there, and up there.
The question was posed, has Steph made the statue yet? For those of you that don't know, the first 100 players to, or 1,000 players.
1,000 players to reach level 100 in hardcore mode, where if
Permadeath.
Permadeath. As far as I know, I'm pretty gosh darn sure that Steph is not playing in hardcore. By the way, the first person that made that, his character died. Do you want to know how his character died? Oh no. He had an internet interruption. And Blizzard servers say if your internet DCs while you're playing, they assume it's malicious and you die.
In just hardcore, but
In hardcore.
In just hardcore. Yeah. I mean, you're already on the statue forever, so...
Yeah, he's entry number 1 on the statue. I mean, it sucks that that's how it ended, but at least it wasn't at, like, level 99 3/4.
Or before they could prove the 100, because, like, they're putting the onus on the players to self-report as opposed to them watching.
Yes.
I am not playing on hardcore, but would definitely have died before level 50.
Let alone 100, yeah.
Oh my God! I totally forgot about this. I started actually playing Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. By the way, totally worth it. So much fun. Although this isn't really spoiler because it's the first 4 minutes of the game. You start with the princess. And it all goes wrong from there, just as it should.
So you're having a good time playing Korok War Crime Simulator?
Oh, yes. And I definitely, the first available time, the Korok was like, I need to get to my friend. And I was like, okay. And I attached him to a thing and then just spun it as fast and hard as I could. And he went, whoa! And like launched to his friend. And they were like, thank you for your help. And I got the Korok seeds and there I was like...
Hey, little guy, pick a number between 1 and 173. 78. Cool, let me just refer to the Geneva checklist. The what?
So those are all amazing. To quickly end cap it on more Activision Blizzard games that I play, Overwatch has been a lot of fun lately. A play group that I used to play with when I first started streaming, but Johnny, Mike, and some of the guys from the store, Steve included, have now started to make appearances, and we've been able to really make some people mad by playing well, and have received DMs in the tone and tenor of such, and it's been just chef's kiss beautiful. So between that, to our guest that has not yet done this, because I know we forced you to do it, and now one of our friends redeemed a command where you have to call out to our producer here, Steve. Some people do loud, some people do a particular accent, things like that. But however you choose, but that is what...
the redemption is all caps with 3 exclamation marks. Interpret that as you wish.
So do I just yell at Steve?
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Steve!
Oh, I like that one.
That one was good.
I like that.
That was very good. Bravo.
That was percussive. Percussive. I like it.
All right, so for future reference, if someone says redeemed and then a name, I need to yell at that person? Because this can get ugly. It's fantastic really quick.
There is only one redemption of that style, and it is Steve. There is one that's What the Dan Doing, and it's where one of us that has Dan's number needs to text him to ask him, being the chief of content creation on Insane Games TV, what he's up to at the moment. So far, he's 100% on answering. When chat asks what he's doing. 1 week he even sent pictures. He was like, I'm at home doing spreadsheets. Photo. But
yeah, now we just get to watch if security actually swings by. So
it's happened before. It will happen again in the future. But what about you? What have you been up to? What have you been playing?
Oh, okay. So I believe we got into this a little bit last time I was on, however long ago, that dad life consumes much of my time, which I make no apologies for because, being a present father is an important thing to do. So obviously I've been playing Destiny because Destiny is like my main game, and it works for the dad life. I've even joined the, yes, this is a clan, Dads of Destiny.
Yes, I love it.
That's awesome.
Yes, is Dads of Destiny. There are multiple divisions. I'm in the Battleborn division, and the guys are great. And it's basically just a bunch of dads who we get on like later at night and on the weekend. Like, all right, we got this, and it's all understood. There's even been times I was in a group, and one of the newer dads had an infant with him at the time. He's like, hold on, I need to get a bottle. And you actually, I heard him over comms giving his child, a bottle. And we're like, no worries, bro, we got you. Just do your thing.
That's awesome.
And we hear him, clip the baby, back into the carrier, into the rocker. He's like, all right, I'm back. All right, cool, let's do this. But it is so good and wholesome. But the reason why Destiny works for me so well is because of the seasonal content that most people complain about. But for me and a lot of other players, it works because every season there's new loot to grind for.
Okay.
There's new story beats that progresses the main story of the game forward in episodic content. And by the time I get done with all the story beats for the weekly story missions, I'm right around rank 80 of 100. So I'll just play for another week or so, and I've gotten all the shinies, I've gotten all the story beats, and I can put it down. Do what I gotta do, and then when I come back, I don't need to learn new game mechanics. I pick up right where I left off. There's new missions and new stories to do, so it just works for this kind of lifestyle.
That's really cool.
Also, since I was on here last, and this is actually really funny, I did complete Cyberpunk.
Nice!
Yeah, completed Cyberpunk, did all the missions, I ran around, did everything. And the reason why this is funny is because they just announced the new DLC. Or gave a trailer,
yes.
And it's got a release date on it, and apparently they are revamping the entire system. So for Cyberpunk, what is in the reports is that they are completely revamping the skill tree system. There are different skills. There are different progression for it. I hope to God they switch up how they handle crafting because that was such a pain. And the UI is changing. It's a different game. And all the reports are saying this is the game that Cyberpunk should have been. So I'm like, do I do a new playthrough or do I just play the DLC? Given that they did put so much effort into it, I feel they need to support them and play the DLC. And it's got Idris Elba in it.
Mm-hmm. Yes!
Ooh.
Sold.
Yeah, Yeah. So that I'm going to be picking up. I also since completed Yakuza 6 Song of Life. And they also just came out with 2 new trailers for later in the year. Can't wait. And yeah, Rigor Mortis, absolutely, man. Love the support for parents. I have no intention of stopping. I'm in my 40s. I have no intention of stopping my gaming. I mean, no. So I still got tons of stuff on my backlog, as you might have mentioned. I still got Ghost of Tsushima on my backlog. Still got God of War Ragnarok. There was a bunch of others I wanted to play, but never. I mean, at least I never got around to buying it just yet, so I might be able to get it on. But
Father's Day is this way.
Yeah.
Hey, get that some gaming time.
But sometimes if I complete my day at the office and I'm just exhausted because I don't get to game. I don't get me time until 9 o'clock at night. It's take care of the kids because my boys are still fairly young. 6 and 3. Yeah, they're young.
Yeah.
Young kids. Oh my God, he's already 6. I know. Dave has seen him grow up a little bit.
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's 6. He's graduating first grade. He's out of first grade now.
Congratulations.
Yeah, he's going into second. And Yeah,
God, yes, you just love it.
such a good kid. He is such a good kid. So yeah, by the time I get them into bed and I do whatever house cleaning needs to be done, and they're like actually down for the night, it's 8:30, 9 o'clock before I get time. So sometimes I'm like, I'm just not dealing with gaming right now. My brain is fried. I'm just gonna zone out. So I've been working my way through Supernatural.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
Quality choice.
Yeah.
Quality choice.
I'm like episode 21 of season 12.
Yes.
So almost done with season 12. There are 15 seasons.
Yeah.
I'm clearly in it for the long haul for now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It is, and it's good to see them. It was getting a little serious for a little while. It was really stressful, and like season 12, they started bringing back more of the brotherly banter between Sam and Dean.
Good.
Yeah.
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 They brought it back. I'm like, okay, we can breathe again, type of thing.
I haven't watched. I have, however, existed in households where it's been watched. So
Okay.
I'm passingly familiar.
Okay.
So
It's fun. It really is fun.
Yeah.
It also gets the Brunard stamp of approval.
Nice. Okay. I'll see if I can get to the Winchesters. No promises, but you know, it's on my radar at least. And yeah.
Dragon, I thought you finished. Huh. Okay.
So almost done with that. Is there anything else? Well, in topics we're going to be talking about later with 1UpState, I've actually, since I am a non-dev myself, I've actually started dipping into game dev a little bit.
Oh.
A little. Dipping it,
Okay.
just dip, dip, dip. And I downloaded RPG Maker.
Uh-huh.
And I've been having, like, unreasonable amount of fun doing this.
Yeah.
An unreasonable amount of fun doing it. Because, again, I'm the old guy here. And, like, I played Final Fantasy. Notice the lack of a number at the end of
Right.
that. I played it when it was new.
You're doing that. You're doing like gold box D&D games that came on 3 floppies.
Oh, like, yeah. You get the save icon. All right. And that was an advancement. I was gaming in the days of the 5 1/4 actual floppy.
Oh, yeah.
The floppy.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I would type into my Commodore 64 load menu, 8, 1, enter to start a game. All right. So
I had a Commodore 64 when I was a kid, so I do this, but I was so like I never got
it
into
was
that
good. I
nitty-gritty.
mean, I was young, of course, but yeah, I typed in. You put the disc in, load menu, automate depending on the game, 8, whatever 8, 1 means
I
in
don't
its
even remember
syntax.
that specifically, but yeah,
But
this Fisher Price Fire Engine.
Yeah, Griff
game.
Kuba, what is A1?
You know the programming the command line language for Commodore, right?
No. If it's anything like C, you're just basically inserting values into initial variables.
All right. Oh,
It's-
actually,
So
I do
you're
remember.
starting the bouncing ball.
But I do remember.
Basically, yeah.
I do remember starting games where like the command line when you started the game would set variables such as like difficulty or what level you're starting on. I think like there was again I had like
Maybe.
a
Yeah,
really simple like fire engine game, and so in the command line when I started the game, you know, like 1 might be an easier level, 3 might be more where my skill level was. I think I could be remembering this wrong because that was before
Or
brain
like
became
but
brain.
I'll back
Initiate
you
the
on
game at
very
the
similar,
beginning of
like-
the game type
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Instead of go to menu and then select your difficulty from there. Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Anyway.
I played Final Fantasy, period, and all like the golden age of RPGs type of thing. So working through this engine, everything's canned. Like everything is canned. It is so easy for me because I also have a background in engineering. I've done a little bit of computer programming in college and in high school. Some of it was with CNC machining. I'm doing a crap ton of work with Excel in my day job as an analyst, and like so I can handle basic variables and recalling information, all that. So it's like, all right, I know what I need to do. I make my overroll. Like, okay, I have an overroll. I need to make my initial. Got that. And like a house. I was a architectural and mechanical drafter for 14 years. I can draw a house. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Best damn house ever in a video game.
That's right. So like, I'm getting into it, and I'm doing the whole learning curve thing, where I watch a couple how-to videos, and I'm seeing, because it does get into, you have to write a little bit of code to make this thing operate. But I see what the code is, and I see where the variables and coefficients are. I'm like, oh, okay, that's how I do it. Copy, paste, modify. Copy, paste, modify. And I'm at the point now where like I need to watch more how-to videos, because I'm getting into actual, like, I can have the game keep track of what items are in the inventory, check my inventory, and if yes, then. So a basic if-then-else statement.
Yeah.
It'll change the dialogue options, and change the, like, so I'm building in locks and keys. But, like, for game progression, you need to do this first. Go over here, grab item, come back to that I've made fetch quests. And if
$39.99 right away.
and if item is in
Take my
inventory,
pesos.
then do this type of thing. So like I'm having a blast with it.
That's awesome.
Oh man.
I want to mention, and Steve would almost get upset at me if I don't mention a couple things that I've been watching. Actually, I forgot to mention. I follow a couple of racing series, and by that I don't mean like the Le Mans race that was over the weekend or anything like that.
Awesome. Garage 56 fucking rules.
I mean 3D Bot Maker's King of the Mountain, which is downhill diecast car racing.
Oh boy.
And so
Yes.
for the first few months of the year, they were doing qualifiers where they do 4 cars, do 4 races each. Whoever has the most points goes on to the actual series. And they did 16 qualifiers, so now they have their bracket of 1 through 16. The first race of round 2 aired on YouTube yesterday, and it was brutal. So around the track, it's all like diorama and stuff. There's onlookers, there's buildings, there's a bridge that goes over water. Last night's race was the first one where a car bounced off a light post and went into the water. 3 different times, cars went off the track and crashed into onlookers.
Oh, boy.
I won't go deep into the lore, Race in Peace McClyde, but like it was, while watching the race, I wrote it down. I forget exactly off the top of my head, but like I'm watching with Steph, and we get into it because like what really makes it is the announcers.
Okay.
It's all pre-recorded,
fair.
whatever. But then the announcers treat it like it's full like real whatever. You've got your number 1 seed, and he's doing really well, but then he goes off the track, and it's making this really interesting kind of story there. There's a lot going on to it, but like Steph and I get so into it that like the first time that a car went into the crowd, we're like, ooh, because it happens sometimes. The second one, we're like, someone goes like off the track and again into the crowd, we're like, oh shit.
Wasn't one that went like almost right into the building where the announcers were?
Yeah, one hit the building and shifted the building in the diorama backwards by like half a centimeter.
Oh boy.
It was hard. And then like we both shouted, "Oh my god!" with one of the things too. Like again, absolutely getting into it. A lot of fun, and that is just the first round of round 2. So there's 3 more races of that, and then it comes together into the semifinals, and then finals. And then the other motorsport that we watch is Yella's Marble Runs is doing the Marbula 1 series. And so it's marbles down a track with a conveyor belt to go up for the next lap. And there's 16 teams. Ours is an O-Rangers household. And this year it has basically been, of the 2 team members, it's been like, okay, if Orangin is racing, we're going to do really well. If Clementin is racing, we're going to suck. Because you project onto this, because again, the announcers and the production value of the whole thing. Well, last night, as an O-Rangers fan, I was very happy to say that Clementin went, and we're like, this is going to suck. But no, the actual race came out, and they started, I think, in 3rd, worked their way up to pole, and stayed there. They came in first. Good job, Clem. Those are what I watch for sports, because, look, these videos are 10, 15 minutes long, and we watch them when we're catching up on YouTube. Every Monday for 3D Bot Maker, and so far this season it's been Friday for qualifiers for Marbula 1, and then the actual race on Saturday.
Have you guys heard of Marbula 1 and the King of the Mountain?
I haven't.
I'm writing it down now.
Okay. If you'll afford me, just
Go ahead,
The
go
first
ahead.
time Steve and Boder were talking about this, Steve and I talk about F1, we talk about NASCAR, we talk about the truck races, all these things. And then Boder was talking to Steve using all the same terminology on motorsports. And they're like, oh, do you remember the crash? This, oh, the driver, da, 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 da. And then literally I have not a clue what's happening. What are they talking about? I'm like, oh my God, what do you mean? They're in the hospital? Are they okay? And then they were like, yeah, and then this car, and it's a Hot Wheels this. And I went, I go, what? Time out!
But it's got the FTE wheels!
I was like, you said Hot Wheels in there in reference to a fire on the track. I need you to back it up. And then they
then the track crew ran them off the track and into the crowd.
like you then like pulled up a clip of it, and I'm watching, and I literally was like, and now I feel somehow duped. And yet only duped because it's amazing stuff. And here I am screaming at a television in the store on Sundays at NASCAR drivers that all of us in the store have different fandoms of. So when they bump each other, we're all like, yeah, did you see that? That's you! But it's literally the same thing, except that when the cars suddenly stop very hard, you're not suddenly like...
You go like that, but then it's also, again, the storyline of like, oh yeah, the number 1 seed... double DNF. The number 16 seed finished all 4 races, so they're progressing.
Amazing stuff. Amazing.
Anyway, that's a half an hour of what we've been watching and consuming and stuff like that.
I just love that it comes from 4 very different perspectives and different walks of gaming, and that doesn't even represent all of the gaming that there could be or watching if you're not a gamer, and we appreciate you being here regardless. Is it okay if we transition to another topic that we were going to bring up towards the end of the program, but since we're on the topic of making games, Steve, were you able to pull that video that I sent you?
Lily's news.
So, we talked last week on Play Live of our friend here, Griff Kuba, making a game, and he talked a little bit about it, and me wanting more, please. And so he sent some resources for it and things like that. I was originally going to piggyback this on the end of the conversation about 1UpState and more about that soon. But I did want to. It does make sense of finding out that someone else is making really cool games and things like that.
Mitigate expectations, folks.
Listen, I already pre-ordered the $300 deluxe set, and I'm not going to cancel the pre-order.
Someone is on their way to making really cool games.
Sure. All right. I'll post it to Itch.
Yeah,
It works for me. Yeah. That's where I first played Bendy and the Ink Machine, so, you take it.
I clicked it over.
What?
I clicked it over to the video.
So your game is now being presented in 1400 carat 4K.
Our
in
camera
vision.
pros.
Oh, that's fine.
So what are we looking at here? What's the story, Morning Glory?
So, my game is a 2D isometric perspective tactical role-playing game, similar to Final Fantasy Tactics, Fire Emblem, and other things that were that took inspiration from the game-based wikis that my organization hosts. Fire Emblem, Kirby, Earthbound, Star Fox, Final Fantasy, and so on and so forth.
Now, which Final Fantasy? We were talking about this earlier.
Final
Final Fantasy Tactics.
Right, okay.
Wait, which Final Fantasy Tactics?
Final Fantasy Tactics.
Fun trivia question.
the first one on the original PlayStation. We even, in our game design document, which for those of you who don't know is where everyone puts together the ideas of what actually goes into the game. We actually said we're looking for PS1 era graphics. We're looking to emulate gaming from the 90s and early aughts and stuff like that. we're not. It's more of a proof of concept than an actual commercially viable product. But I will put it on itch, and with itch's option of pay whatever you want. So if people think it's worth $50, they can put $50. If people think it's worth $1, they can put $1. One of the other goals of this is to be available for anybody who can't afford to game, because when I started this, we were in the middle of a recession. But yeah, it's
The middle of one. Hey.
yes. But yeah, the project started in 2014, and it's been through multiple iterations. We've had 2 project managers, multiple artists join and leave, multiple programmers join and leave. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping it's out by the fall.
Oh, cool!
Because my current programmer has said that he's close to being done with everything. He just has to put it all together, and then we got to test it.
The coolest part.
Yes. Yeah. There's at most 30 more sprites to go. We got to finish up the side quests. The unfortunate thing, there's a slight delay because the programmer who's supposed to be pushing this through is on medical leave. So there's even though we have no sponsors or publishing contracts or anything like that, there's still things to delay.
Oh yeah,
because real life gets in the way.
We've talked about Activision Blizzard being a little bit, let's just say, dictatorish about their deadlines and things like that. So you put them on medical leave, is what I'm.
Yeah.
Where's my beta build, pal? Kneecap.
Oh, he's on medical leave now. That didn't work.
But yeah, the people who can show up, some of them from like New York City, some of them from up here, some of them from Texas and other places around the globe, are doing wonderful work. Some of them are joined the team exclusively for experience. That way they can go into the professional world saying, "Hey, look at what I helped with."
Yeah.
But it's both exciting and tiring.
I bet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because on the one hand, I'm excited that it's going to be done hopefully soon. But on the other hand, I want to work on something else.
Please.
Finish
Yes.
the project. Finish the project.
Yep.
So how
movies.
can people get involved now with it, or can they?
The highest thing that if anybody is able to help me with is I need a project manager, because the managing the tasks and trying to maintain a creative vision is more than I can handle on my own. I like having a manager who I can delegate those tasks to and be like, okay, these guys need to do this, and your responsibility is to do that.
You can't have Steve. I'm just telling you now. You can steal him away from us, but you will have to fight me in crop lock.
But on a more basic level, I am trying to put out regular updates on our various social media channels. So if you would like to follow those, Twitter at GriffGuba1, GriffGuba on Facebook, and so on and so forth. And then just share them. Tweet, share, stuff like that.
Comment, like, and subscribe.
Yes.
And now for the main event, the most exciting thing, the reason we dragged the two of them back here to the studio, the finale. Let's all go.
Well, that's 8:45. I almost said 20:45 because I've got military time up there. I never do that.
Steve, did you finish the milk in the fridge?
No.
Good.
I don't know if it's
Oh,
still
right.
going.
This was a stream that started.
Yes,
in
it is.
June.
And I was on. I know you may not be aware, but during Play Live this year, I put an incentive up for $3,500, and it was just PILK in all capital letters with a bunch of exclamation points and a question mark. Now, I didn't tell people what that meant, but what it meant, because we beat it, was that every stream I do, I have to drink a glass of PILK. Do you know what PILK is, my friend?
No.
You can stay.
I wish you could retain your ignorance, but unfortunately that is going to be lost.
Okay.
I have to go get myself a nice tall glass of pilk. I'm going to have it while we begin talking about these things. I did get a snack for us for funsies. Because it would be rude as a host not to have a little bit of spread, as they say.
I was wined and dined last time I was here. What is going on?
Was it the
It was like the nerd soda or something.
gummies? Didn't we have like flavored gummies of some sort? Maybe I'm thinking something else.
It was like a random assortment of like bottom shelf.
Right. Yeah. We've had those. Actually, the last bottom shelf candy that we had was the same company that made the gummy mac and cheese and the gummy Lunchables. We had gummy bacon, and honestly, it wasn't that bad because they were upfront about it being strawberry flavored, so it was just strawberry gummies.
Oh, all right. Well, then.
Yeah, it was disappointingly not bad.
So it's just like strawberry gummy in the shape of bacon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not gummied bacon.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope, which is what immediately made it bad. But this week's snack is coming out of the mystery box. The mystery box is not a gift. It is not a part of the thing. You can't have the mystery box, Steve. But you can have your choice of Cheetos Flamin' Hot Smoky Ghost Pepper Puffs, Chocolate Quinoa Crisps, milk chocolate and cherries,
Not gonna lie, I will destroy that thing.
or no one's allergic to, you're not allergic to peanuts, are you?
No.
Or Reese's Nutrageous. I have 3 of them. Consult. That is all the gifts that the mystery box has.
That
Are you
started
okay?
sliding forward. I leaned forward and it was like, here, let me help you get a closer look at that.
Look at it.
And then I freaked out and my wrist went up and I'm going to have one of the Nutrageous. Those look like Reese's Pieces inside of just a Reese's candy bar. That is in fact outrageous, as they say. Woo! So you have not been told what pilk is, and I cannot wait to see the reaction there. You said you were probably going to destroy
I would destroy these.
those.
Oh, yeah.
Have you a preference?
Either the Cheetos or the Reese's. I haven't decided which.
The Flamin' Hot
Yeah.
Smoky Ghost Pepper Puffs.
Ghost pepper? All right.
Okay.
So this
I
is
wonder
actually...
if that milk is still good. Ghost pepper. Oh, I need the... Oh, not that. Immediately curdles when it gets near. What's the date on that milk, Dave?
The 14th.
Tomorrow. All right,
Still
we're
good.
good. We're good. Still
good.
good. Still good.
So this is actually like super wholesome. My wife kind of got confused on what weekend Father's Day was.
Okay.
So I had an early Father's Day this past weekend.
That's amazing.
And she went shopping with our 3-year-old to get daddy gifts.
Okay.
And the 2 things that he picked out for me, so from a 3-year-old to get daddy for Father's Day, is a bag of El Fuego Takis
The best.
and a pouch of taco simmer sauce.
Nice.
Like, I'm not mad.
Are you interested in having any pilk?
No, thank you.
Wise man. Are you
Would
interested?
you be interested
I
in having-
just saw him fill that. And you know what? I'll do it.
Oh, you poor unfortunate soul. You're hired.
So Father's Day is this upcoming weekend. I invited my parents to come and visit. Happens to be like the only weekend where my dad has a Saturday off, so it worked out really well for him to come up this
I'm
weekend.
gonna have a spill.
And like we're just gonna like my usual thing for like Father's Day / Mother's Day is let's head up to Northshire. You guys have X amount of dollars to shop for books at the bookstore, and I got you. It worked a lot better when I worked at the bookstore and I got a discount because they were able to get more bang for that buck. But it's still, it's still just kind of like almost tradition at this point of like, hey, this is what we'll do for
And that's great.
for those gifts.
That's a great thing.
And then I said bring up your bowling balls because my frozen shoulder is finally good enough that I can bowl again. And if it's not raining, we can do mini golf. There's a bunch of stuff like that. And then Dad's going to be joining me on stream Sunday morning. We're probably going to play a combat racer game called Revolt, which came out in '98 or '99. But it's like remote control car combat racer.
Okay.
So excited for that. That's my Father's Day plans coming up.
Nice.
You know what? It's worth mentioning on air since we've been talking about things. Didn't have a very good relationship with a father figure in my life. Father's Day, I forget about until we do things with my students. And then it's like, let's make Father's Day gifts. And they're like, are you going to give one to your dad? I'm like, ha! Sure. He's certainly going to get something this Father's Day.
Oh, give one to your dad. That came out weird.
I'm actually making a Father's Day gift for my brother-in-law, who is going to be a first-time father in a couple of months. So I'm going to be sending from New York to San Francisco. We're painting rocks because Dad's rock and the rock is about this big, and it's very heavy. And so I've covered it in paper mache, and I'm going to write "You Rock" on it, and I'm going to send it to him. And that's going to be one of the first things I send my wonderful brother-in-law, Brian, in San Francisco. Postage is going to be coming out of my nose, but that's okay, because it'll be well worth to see him open a box and there be a rock.
But with the U.S. Postal Service, if it fits, it ships.
You can use a flat rate.
Abuse that to no end when sending people things.
So I have a proposition, and that is for the two of you to enjoy your pilk, and then while you are indisposed, you can start telling us.
Sure.
Cheers to pilk.
Disgusting.
So,
Steve with his... What are you making?
Sprilk. Tempting fate here.
So, for people who don't remember, or wasn't here last time we talked about it, 1UpState is a game development expo. We're planning to put together, or we're putting together, or whatever verbiage you want to use, in October, the 21st. It's a Saturday, going to be running from 12 to 5, and then 6 to 9? 7 to
So, yeah, it's going to be 10 till 5.
Yeah.
And then 8 until, like, 11.
And
So, yeah.
the first section are all lectures and chances to talk with vendors and more professional focused, while the second session are an after party where people can come and play games that developers come and show for the public.
Gotcha. So like the first half is kind of the like professional networking.
Yes.
The second half is more kind of public outreach-ish.
This is surprisingly not as horrible as I was
Don't
expecting.
say that! My mother, that traitorous old woman, my Steve made a pilk during one of the streams. My mother goes, "Oh, I love pilk." Sat there and finished the whole thing. Me, my sister, and my brother-in-law, ironically enough, sat there and were like, "You traitorous old woman."
I don't like the texture.
It's bizarre, but at least I saw it being prepared, so I knew what to expect.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
So
unlike
that
past
helps.
years where Steve would just do something in the back and you hear him cackling and then bringing forward a cup that has something that's milky and foamy. And
You just hear Steve. Nobody's allergic to pineapple, right? All right, drink this.
So yeah, it's more like the expo proper is the like 10 a.m. to 5 or 6. That's like it's going to be the main expo proper, and it's like, do you want to go into more detail? Because I will rattle and rattle and rattle.
So-
I am a former podcast host.
So, if you go to our website, 1UpState.com, there is a tab called Get Involved, and we have various applications people can fill out, including volunteer applications, like you mentioned you wanted to volunteer, sponsor applications if Insane Games would like to sponsor.
Steve,
What?
Insane Game sponsoring 1UpState. Pass that up the tube.
And question, I don't control the monies.
I like that up the tube. That kind of implies to put it in the little thing and then to just drop onto his desk.
When do you get a response? When it comes back.
Whenever the bank opens again, I don't.
By the way, Dan did respond to the chat quest. Sorry to break into. I realized I forgot. Dan is still 100% of answering the what the Dan doing. Dan is having Moe's right now. Well,
Oh, tasty. Very
I know. We'll talk about that on. We'll debate that tomorrow with them. But Dan is still 100% with answering your questions about what the Dan doing. I just want to say again how incredibly exciting this is when you guys mention like, oh yeah, this is the Pro Focus, this and that and the other. Like, so you mean I can wander around the convention hall and be like, you make games, I play games, I love your games you make. Like,
Actually, what you were talking about earlier before we went live, how you like to wander around.
oh yes,
I have
100%.
In the volunteer thing, I have actual questions related to that. Like, do you want to be a person who will wander around helping anybody who's lost?
I'm hired. It's literally my calling at Saratoga Comic Con. If people look confused, I'm always like, hey, what's up?
He's a con chaperone.
Yes.
So last time you guys were on, was it late last year? I forget exactly
In
when.
October.
Yeah, so it's been a bit. So like, so since then you've gotten your date and your venue.
Yep. Yes.
We you gave us the incredible honor of being able to announce that during the Nerdies.
That
at the
was
end of
so
last year.
cool.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
But like, what else? So what? So how's it coming? Since October, you were talking like some of the high concept kind of stuff.
So everything is coming down into the more like this is defined what we're going to do. We actually just finalized the floor layout at our last meeting.
Oh, wow,
And
okay.
so
Nice.
this is again a mitigate expectations thing. The event will happen. Like it will happen. I paid the deposit at the venue. It it will happen. We're going to be right now we're estimating 25 tables. So it's fairly small. Like it's not going to be Saratoga Comic Con. Like it's year one of the event.
Yeah.
All right, let's get an event started. It's going to be the lower level only of the Albany Capitol Center. So we have the entire lower level. We have all of the meeting rooms. Right now we're planning on one track of speakers, meaning that we're just going to have one panel room going. And we're actually doing half-hour sessions, not doing full hour. So we're going to be able to rotate in and out lots of different ideas. And one of the things that we've talked to some other prospective speakers about this, one of the things that they like about that is you're not going to get, and I don't want to be so negative about it, but you're not going to get stuck with an awkward panel where the host has to really drag out information, or if it's a panel topic that's been done to death.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, well, we're going to sit through this one again.
Yeah, for whatever reason, sometimes there's a panel that you go to, and I went to a conference for work, and it's sometimes like this where you sit down and you go, oh no, this is what they meant by that title, and sometimes it's a personal preference thing or whatever. But by having that half
you're
hour
now
thing,
in there for a full hour.
yeah,
That can be a long time.
Especially, God help you if you sit in the front row or making eye contact with the presenter, where it's like,
and sure, if it's an hour, you can get up and leave, and good presenters are just going to take that in stride and work with who's still there. But you say there's 25 tables. That's only so much you can do in that hour while you're waiting for the next speaker to come in.
Right.
So half hour.
So half
instead.
hour is, even if we were going to have two tracks going, this is one of the things we decided very early on in part of the scoping, that it's going to be half hour sessions.
Cool.
So 25 tables, half hour sessions. Been reaching out to lots of organizations. I have a lot of verbal confirmations. Still working on getting actual written stuff, but there are a few things that even though I don't have written it's done. Like the written aspect is a formality. So we've said several times, Discover Albany totally on board.
Cool.
Yeah, they're totally on board.
Amazing.
The UpState Alliance for the Creative Economy, they're totally on board.
Amazing.
Helping out. They're we're actually going to be partnering with them for a networking event later this year as we get closer to the event. I've reached out to the Empire State Development, and they are going to be on board and discussing, because there is a game development tax credit in New York. Like, game development is part of the future vision of New York State. It's in official government documentation, and there are tax breaks for. Right now, it's not perfect. and it's geared more towards the larger studios, and people are trying to kind of push for more of like the indie level, make it a little bit more accessible. But you need a plan to start with that you can then modify as needed.
Yes.
So they're on board. They're going to do a presentation to discuss that aspect. So we're getting
That's
speakers
awesome.
on board. What else can we talk about? Everything is still in planning phases right now. We're doing a lot of outreach, trying to get the word out and start evaluating applications as they come in.
I know for you, for trying to take a look at this and things like that, but last time you guys were here, you had the beginnings of here's what our vision is, here's these things. To see this now, focusing in and getting to, by the way, I don't know that we fully, I know you said it, but we're going to repeat it again. 1UpState, October 21st at the Albany Capitol Center.
Yep.
Get your tickets because they are going to sell out. And I'm not saying that facetiously. They are going to sell out because this is going to be one of those events that are going to draw in so many different groups, so many different facets of gaming, and so many different facets of just development in the area. And it sounds like you're pulling in groups and ideas and cooperators that don't normally get invited to. Here's a convention experience. Here's a public presentation way and things like that. And that is incredible to know that the Capital District wants game development.
Yep.
And that alone is amazing.
It's not a well-known fact outside of the game development community, but there are a lot of companies and studios that are stationed right here in the Capital District.
We just talked about how Diablo 4 was recently released.
Yeah.
Even viewers of the show, just because it's not as well known, as Chris said, we have a branch of Blizzard in Albany.
Yep.
They took the lead on Diablo 4. All right. Yeah.
I knew they did for Diablo 2 Resurrected. But yeah, Diablo 4 they were huge in as well. You know, they did the Tony Hawk Pro Skater remake.
Yep.
Yeah, they've done so much stuff. That
They're a powerful engine.
Yeah.
We have WB Games in Saratoga.
Wait,
Like,
what?
Surprise!
Surprise!
Warner Brothers is not Saratoga. Excuse me, Troy. I
Still.
misspoke. Yeah,
Yeah,
Warner.
yeah.
Yeah, WB Games. Surprise!
Oh my god.
To be clear, it's not the development branch. It's more of servers and
Yes.
database management and stuff like that. But still, it's a branch.
Yeah,
That's-
and it's still like part of game. It's still a matter of making the game in such a way that people can play it. Like maybe they're not doing like character design, whatever, but it's still an important part of getting a game developed is having that infrastructure, and that's something that's worth getting out there to people too.
And that is part of like the gaming industry where you may not think about it. One of the things I've been trying to push also is all the art and the creative efforts that go into game. Just create this. Character design, environmental design, armor design, weapon design, just design of the dungeons themselves, audio design, making all the background music, dealing with all the voiceover work. Like there's so much artistic effort. But then that's all what you see at the consumer level. There's a whole other legion of IT support and infrastructure support that goes into making this actually happen. Like,
people don't think of like servers and such as required to be able to play a game until you pull a Diablo 3 release.
or Overwatch 2, or to be honest, the first 12 hours of Diablo 4, which they fixed really fast.
We love you, Blizzard.
Credit to you.
You're getting better.
Yeah.
yeah, any online game at launch, I just imagine anyone who's in charge of the servers kind of like crying in a corner or just like at the gates of the Coliseum. It's like, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God.
Have three open monster drinks.
Yeah, right.
Ready to go.
Okay, what's gonna happen? So
They're not open yet, but is this a 3-alarm emergency?
so
Steve, can you drop a link to the website? Because I know Lily's News asked if there's still a need for help on the project in this endeavor. And Lily, yes.
Oh, yes.
And you can get involved in many facets today.
So we're bringing in, like, the vision of it is primarily to celebrate the people who are making games in the capital region. Like, that's like the overall intent. The capital region, the Tech Valley region of New York. So we're looking to bring in not just the professional developers, but people who are even at the indie, who are thinking about it, who have an idea. We're trying to make it approachable and accessible to people who have an interest. And to see that there are career paths into this industry. So
Hopefully.
it's also as much as like for parents as well of younger kids. I say younger kids. I don't want younger than me, you bunch of little whippersnappers.
Yeah, it's not exactly a job fair, but there's the awareness
Yeah.
there that this industry is here.
It's local. So we have game development curriculum at our RPI has been a very vocal supporter of us as
Yes.
well. They will be having a presence, and they have a game development curriculum. They have whole game dev. You Albany. Many of the colleges have esports teams. Like it's so. All right, my kid is involved in gaming. Oh, really? You guys are involved in some of the esports, as I remember from last time.
Yes, yes, we are a fan of the Empire esports team, the best esports team in the Capital District.
Plug. All right.
Go Birds!
So it's you're a fan of this. You're playing the games. What else is there though? Well, there's college curriculums. Okay, well, you went to college for making a game. Can you actually get a job anywhere? Yeah, actually, right down the road, we can get a job. And, like, take a look at their job postings. These are not all, like, entry level. These are, like, senior infrastructure architect.
Yeah.
Is a job title. Okay, that is someone who's going to take some schooling and experience to get into.
Yeah.
And is going to be paying quite well.
Yeah, it's and one thing that I think that by having this expo there is that it also like kind of boosts not just like what the industry is doing, but this kind of like the grassroots enthusiasm for what the industry is doing.
That's what we're hoping for.
Because like a couple of years ago, maybe if I heard some official New York thing about trying to gas up the Tech Valley kind of thing, I might have been like, really? But it's by getting word out there and showing that it's not just like a small segment of like trying to officially make it a thing, but that there is widespread acceptance within the industry. This is a thing. They're not trying to make it a thing. It is a thing.
Yeah.
And that kind of like grassroots boost of like, this is here right now and getting it out there to more people. Visibility.
Yeah. Whatever questions you got, man.
Absolutely. Just,
What?
again, so you're not only showing it off, but you're supporting it and showing that there is future in it and there is a history. God, I love this.
Most people that we've talked to are fully enthusiastic, but a lot of them, it's too soon to commit. But
Yes,
they're going to
right.
be
Very
on board
much so.
once we're closer.
And you know what? How many of these have you done?
This is our first one.
Oh, so it's not the 30th one?
Yeah.
It's not these things.
It's so that is a challenge that we're running into with people looking to commit because it's the first one. All right. But everyone, like, the vibe is they're on the edge.
Yeah.
Like, no one wants to be the first. But once we get a handful of more announcements, and we have a few announcements ready to make, we just got to, get the message.
Get some
Yeah,
signatures on some things before people start tweeting.
Yeah. But yeah, once that's there, other people who have kind of been on the fence can be like, all right,
They're
I'm
going to
in.
commit to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine, you can have Steve. There's the big news.
Yeah, and then
Thanks, Steve. Much love, brother.
Make sure to follow us on our various social media outlets for when these announcements come out.
yeah.
Steve, can you drop the link to the website again? Because you can find all the links to all the websites right there.
Oh, yes.
Sure.
1UpState.
The very same. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and so I suppose this is maybe looking a little ambitiously far ahead, but you're going to do another one after this one, I assume. And so,
That's actually part of our pitch.
Yes.
so this is the first annual.
This is an all intent. This will be an annual event. It's in our sponsorship deck for viewing pleasure, where it's like we just need to have the first one, and we're going to roll all the money into the next one. Like
Right.
this, for those who have expressed interest, as Chris said, is very enthusiastic. Like we will have a second one. That will happen.
Nice.
Yes.
So you both aren't buying, flights to the Cayman Islands. And
Yeah, I mean,
They were going to get a yacht, but they didn't want to be attacked by killer whales. So,
I'm also bad at the ocean.
hello, I am bad at water.
Sorry, but I could picture that being like the two of you just standing there going, yes, and then we'll escape to the no. No. The next convention. So that's the 10 to 5 is the pro focus. Here's the industry.
that will be the more standard like convention conference that people are accustomed to. So we'll have the vendor tables set up, the exhibitor tables set up. We'll have a running panel schedule going in one room, and it's the standard convention conferencing that everyone's accustomed to. Mm-hmm. And then shut down for a few hours. Everyone go get dinner, take a breather, whatever. Come back at around 8 o'clock, I believe.
Oh, because it's at the Capitol Center in Albany. So there are literally restaurants in walking distance, but you can also choose your favorites that you have, which could be sponsoring this event. Just saying, if you're a local restaurateur.
Well, hey, we're
Get a coupon in the program, get a bunch of people that night.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not against it. There's a little caveat at the end of the sponsorship that is like, don't see a package that works for you? Contact us for a custom promo package. Like, yeah, I'll work with you. Whatever. So come back at about 8 o'clock, and that's when it turns into the after party. I've got a DJ lined up, DJ Mo Haskins. He DJs at the beer house all the time. Great dude, super gamer.
Cool.
He's like the perfect setup for this. And
So he's not going to do what DJ Khaled did at the Overwatch League finals, where everyone was sitting there going, "I've heard this, but I don't know who that man is." You've never watched an audience people get so uncomfortable so fast. But he was like, "We the best," and everybody was like, "Who? What? What is happening?"
he'll be playing music, and whoever has a game to demo, we're going to encourage them to put it into just like free play mode. And it's just going to be like, open the games up, we're going to hang out. It's going to be real like low key, just like it's an after party where very casual networking and just like open the games up to play.
Yeah.
Are we going to be demoing your game?
I'm hoping.
My expectation has now been set, and my disappointment will be both immeasurable and very loud.
So
Just yell Steve.
I had a table at the last ADK tabletop day up in Glens Falls, and I was showing 1UpState and Tech Valley Game Space, and I showed off Seekers of the Aether stuff, and all I had was a UI demo, and people actually tried playing it, and I'm like, yeah, you can do these things, but it's not full game yet.
That's promising.
Hey,
Yeah.
you know what? They want to experience it.
Yeah.
So showing that they want to experience
They were just waiting for you to say the word DLC. That's what they were waiting for. How do I jump? DLC content. It's called Springboard Pants.
We're going to put microtransactions in the tutorial. You press this to double jump if you buy the package with the...
2 weeks later, the game goes back into beta. And then the beta is taken down.
Womp, womp. Speaking of WB games. Careful.
Careful! The money! However, he just stands up. You and I both get a gloved hand to the face.
I was just, please do not spit take the pilk.
Do clip forever.
It just turns into it looks like curds of cottage cheese spraying
the
across
day
the table.
Yeti, the day,
All onto the Yeti.
the day that Dan finally made me eat the Yeti. You finally did it, Dave. After all these years of yelling at it, you finally killed it. So
The one piece of unkillable tech in this whole.
let me. Oh well, I mean, I have one at home too that has also been through the ringer on so many. I thank that thing at the end of the day. Like I kiss my cat goodnight, I kiss my wife goodnight, and then I go over to the Blue Yeti. I'm like, you've been there, you got me, bro. You haven't broken once. You're the most expensive thing in my setup. So let me ask you, as a streamer, as someone who doesn't have any game development experience, but does like going to conventions and running around and being enthusiastic about things, occasionally dresses up as video game characters, things like that. How can people who may not necessarily develop games but are around the gaming sphere be involved? Are they welcome to go to the earlier part and
course.
take part in those things?
Oh, of course,
What do you recommend?
So if you're just like an enthusiast in the gaming community, what you're going to be able to experience are the people who actually make the games. Now, keep it professional, because this is something that we've also received feedback on, where like you get the incels coming out. Like, stay home. But you're going to be able to interact with these people who actually make the games. You know, yes, they're going to be. If you happen to be at a table where one of the larger studios, be respectful. But you're going to be able to interact with the people who, like. I went to one where it's like they did the the environment design for this one era. I'm like, this is awesome. I love what you did, type of thing. Otherwise, what you'll be able to experience is just, it's a peek behind the curtain. Mm-hmm. Like, how does the magic happen? How does this come to be? And the talks, they're not going to be your standard, like, voice actor panel or podcast. Sorry, guys. Podcaster panel.
Totally fine.
But, like, we're not trying to compete in that space. Mm-hmm. You have Fandom Fest, Saratoga Con, oodles upon oodles of other festivals and conventions. This is going to be more on learning what happens behind the scenes. This is going to be more like, if you're curious about it, like, how does this happen? And you're going to have some very different conversations, very different topics of discussion, where they're going to be talking about things like, for example, some things that have been pitched to us were like, conveying proper emotion through audio design. Like, I'm not saying that's going to be a topic, but this is like an example of like what else is, parsing out combat, or like.
That's the kind of stuff that I would just watch a half-hour YouTube video on, and for someone to be there talking to me about it would be so cool.
These are not the topics that will be at the expo. Until someone approves it, but like,
that kind of thing.
This is the type of thing that will come to be. So, like, if you're interested in games, even if you just enjoy it, like, take a look at the speakers schedule. Take a look at the agenda. If there's anything they're just remotely interested, or go like, I wonder what that's all about. Step inside.
So you're saying there's going to be sizzle and steak, like actual steak, instead of a lot of panels and conventions, which are a lot of...
It depends on where you go to dinner.
That's true. That's true. Very true. Sponsor for 1UP. But that's so exciting to know that there's going to be the ability for folks like me who don't have a lot of experience, who are knee deep in these things, to learn about these things, to see these different perspectives. And hopefully to maybe gain a different perspective on, why I like this character so much. Because they emote a lot, or they do a lot of these things. And to learn about how they do that, conveying, these other things. Making a programmed entity more than just a picture on a screen.
Mm-hmm. Yes. It's the kind of thing where it's like, you assume that more character animations is better, but here's how they use fewer character animations and it makes people relate more. It's anything like that.
Yes. Yeah, it's going to be the deeper conversations. Yeah, it's not going to be, the Q&A with your favorite voice actor and like, what's your favorite? Like, and I'm sounding so negative, and that's not my
There's
intent.
A place for that. This isn't meant to be that place.
You're not being negative. You're stating this is not what that is. It is not going to be us asking, why did you not go in the third movie? Because they didn't hire me. Next question. The third movie was really good. Why weren't you in it? I already answered that one. Thank you so much for your
I mean, you use the sizzle and steak thing, but for me, it's just this is seeing the sausage get made, and for a lot of people, that's really interesting. And I mean, to stretch the metaphor, there's people that like, I want to be a butcher. How do I?
Well, so right, and we're gonna have that is our intent. That is our vision. That is our goal, and we are steadily marching towards that. So, one of the potential guests that I was talking to a few weeks ago was that like he loved the idea. This person loved the idea. It's just like, okay, so because anyone who's worth their salt, they're going to take one look at the vendor list and the panel list, and they know exactly what the tone of that event is.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You're going to know. All right. And there are certain events that people will avoid because, like, they already know what it is.
Yep.
Like, this isn't the place for me, or this isn't what I'm looking for at this time, or every entity has a limited budget, a defined budget. We're going to go to this place. We are not going to be able to afford to have a presence here.
Yep.
So they're going to be selective. So this will gain, like, that other grouping, that other audience.
It's kind of like when we mentioned that like certain shows and movies have certain audiences, and not everyone is going to like everything. People are going to like what they like. And in this case, here's a show that is offering a different menu of things. Maybe we're going back to the food analogy again. I don't know. But maybe I'm just hungry. But like, so
would you like a nice refreshing glass of milk?
So many conventions and shows and stuff do similar menus. And and then this is just a way to like show, hey, here's this as well, which a lot of people wouldn't have even considered. But then when they see it presented, they go, oh my God, that sounds so cool.
So it's going to be the type of stuff that you would see at like GDC.
Yeah.
But at a local accessible level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
God willing, the creek don't rise. That was a bit heartier of a laugh than I was expecting.
I was raised in a Southern family, so any expressions that like remind me of, I'm like, oh, I know what that one means.
It took me a second. I got there, obviously. Not everything lands for everybody. I guess, is there anything that you want to wrap up with on this? Because the show is in October.
Yes.
Last time we had you guys here, it was October. Mm-hmm. I don't know when the next time is we're going to have you guys here. If it's going to be shortly before the show when you're in mode, or if it's going to be after the show when you're in mode.
I can make accommodations. But
whatever that is, I guess just because we don't know when you guys will be back, I don't know if there's any kind of note that you wanted to close on as we wrap up today's show of stuff that you want people to like kind of take away from this.
So everything that we just said, the tagline for the event really does capture it all. It is a celebration of games and the people who make them.
Yeah.
Which really encompasses like what we're trying to do. And right now the biggest help is, well, obviously go get your tickets, but that, and follow us on the social media. Repost our stuff, like our stuff, give us those tasty engagements, and boost our the algorithm for us. Those are the biggest things right now. And yeah, if you know someone who's in the gaming space, in the gaming industry or gaming tangent, let them know about us. That's the biggest thing. Help us get the word out. And we hope to see you guys there.
Yeah.
I hope to be there. I have a wedding that month, but it's Friday, and I don't care if it's the day before. I will be there. I can't wait.
When I initially proposed, when I brought this idea to you, I asked you if you couldn't be there to video and photograph, because I want to use that material to make an advertisement for the next year.
and I'm having ideas, and I know we'll talk about that as things get closer.
Okay.
And I can't wait. But so I know that I'll be there in one capacity or another.
Yes.
And that's just like, hey, here are skills that I have that can help. And I know that, just people following social media. And if you guys end up looking for, hey, we're looking for someone that can do this to help us put this event together, it'll be on those socials.
Of course it will. Yep.
And people can check there and be like, I can help with this because they're looking for that. I don't know, whatever.
And if you have ideas, as you've seen in the last hour, they are incredibly approachable people.
Yes.
And are willing to hear, listen, hang out, drink disgusting beverages with us, be subjected upon. 1UpState, October 21st at the Albany Capitol Center. It is going to be an all-day festival of celebrating games and the people who make them.
Thank you guys again for so much for coming on the show for the second time.
Incredible.
I can't wait for the event. I can't wait till we get to chat with you guys again. And we'll be in touch, bringing them to you, and hopefully bringing you to the event. But as for tonight, thank you guys again. I've been Boater.
I've been Dave Mann.
I've been Anthony.
I've been Tacopill.
That one's been Steve.
Steve!
Make sure that you are following right here for so many more cool shows on Insane Games TV, including the Weekend Wednesday tomorrow night, right here. Right? Okay. I know
Yes.
No
maybe.
worries. So, you know what? While we're
so I was
mentioning
like,
it,
wait a minute.
Tomorrow is actually going to be a special IRL Weekend Wednesday. Our friend from St. Jude's Play Life, Ashley is a lot, has a sponsored event at Go Play With Your Food in Queensbury.
Oh, nice.
So we are not going to be streaming. Myself and Steve are going to close the gate, and then we are going to hoof it up to Queensburgy, and we are going to Go Play With Your Food, and we're going to play all the board games we can until Bill realizes that we're in there and throws us out.
So in other words, instead of the Weekend Wednesday right here, Go Play With Your Food in Glens Falls and bug them in person.
6 to 9. Can't wait to see you there. Bring a cosplay. There's a cosplay contest. And also, definitely let Ashley is a lot and the folks that Go Play With Your Food know that Insane Games sent you.
From all of us here to you, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time right here at Insane Games TV. Have a great night, everybody.